Deanna, who I know these other ladies have quite the team behind them, and you run the show at Spartan Nash.
Exactly. Yeah. So I am the only dietitian here at Spartan Nash. I do have some help with a part-time dietitian. So I'm excited for that. We just merged with Martin, so she'll be helping out, but I do run the show and it can be a good thing and also a bad thing. But so we have a different kind of strategy. We're very much digital focused and in-store focused. So we don't do like any one-on-one consultations or a lot of like different cooking classes or groups, since I am only one dietitian. So we'll focus a lot on digital marketing, and then also partnering with brands, partnering with healthy brands to showcase throughout the year on our quarterly health and wellness campaigns and our dietitian pick campaigns. And we have done canned fruits and veggies within those campaigns. And then I'll also partner with merchandising to do dietitian pick and themed end cap displays. So that has been really interesting. And then I also am in charge of health and wellness partnerships. And those are the main parts of my position, but the sky's the limit.
I always love, again, I just have so much love for retail dietitian. You did as well. I know this is such a big one. I know I threw it to Emily, but this is such a big one. We could all just keep on talking about, right?
Yeah. And like, I probably will just kind of repeat everything that you guys said, but in a different way. But yeah, it's like the education. I feel like the education and the inspiration are the two main things, and especially some of the education behind, when we have canned products, they actually tend to hold up their nutrients better because they're canned right away at fresh peakness, and same with like frozen, it's done right away. And so sometimes it can even taste better and have more nutrition in it than its counterparts. So I think also like trying to really focus on the pros, like not only the versatility and the affordability, the shelf stableness, but then also it has a little bit more nutrition in there for someone who's really trying to pack in the nutrition punch because of the canning process. So I think just starting with education, getting like even healthcare professionals, not only registered dietitians, but like hospitals and doctors, starting to promote canned vegetables and canned fruits as a way to get in more, because you don't have to figure out how to cut it. You don't have to figure out how to store it. You don't have to figure out how to pick it. It's literally, it takes out all the skills that you need to know on fresh produce and makes it very simple. You just have to know how to open a can. So I think trying to really drive that home to people can make them reach for a can rather than a bag of potato chips.
I actually was reading a stat the other day that like supermarket groceries prices has increased higher than like the national like inflation average. I saw one as high as 12.2%. So it is going up like crazy. People's budgets are just a little bit tighter. And so I have seen a lot more people, if they have never really gotten canned fruits and vegetables before, this might be the time that they start to get them, just because they are more affordable. And then the other thing that I've seen, like the other reason, is just there's a less risk of food waste, I'd say, with canned fruits and vegetables. So I have a lot of clients that will complain about, well, I spent all this money on fresh, and it looked great the day that I bought it, but then I waited a couple days to eat it. I kind of forgot about it. And then when I went back to it, it was gross. And now I'm frustrated because I wasted the money and I wasted the food, which, food waste also equals money wasted. And so a lot of the times now, especially, I'm seeing people, every single thing they're buying, they're going to make sure they eat. And so the canned fruits and veggies are really coming in big there, because obviously they are shelf stable. And if something happens, something comes up and maybe you don't have that meal that night, you can keep it for later. And so you're not wasting food that way. And then at least at Hy-Vee, we haven't had that big of an issue keeping canned fruits and vegetables on the shelf. Whereas there's been so many other things in the store that are just gone. They just have disappeared and we don't really have an explanation for it. They're just not there. So the canned fruits and veggies have been dependable, I think, for people. And so they know, like, okay, if I go to the store and I wanted to get pineapple, maybe it's not like the exact brand I wanted, but it's going to be there. Like in some variety, there's going to be canned pineapple. I'm going to be able to find my fruits and vegetables that way. Because we had I can't remember if it was last summer or the summer before, but there was a lot of fresh fruits and vegetables that we were having a really hard time getting. And it might have been different on the coast in the Midwest. If you guys have never been here, we don't grow a ton of other things like berries, things like that. We get that, a lot of that gets sourced in. And a while ago, we like strawberries as an example. We just could not get them. None of the stores had them. And so without that access, a lot more people tried kind of the canned fruits and veggies just for that option. And then of course, the cost effectiveness is going to be huge. Right now, it's so much more affordable to get usually a canned product rather than frozen or fresh in our stores. And obviously it's summer right now, so we've got a lot of great fresh produce, but in the Midwest, especially like in cold weather months, canned produce tastes better usually than fresh, just because like you said, Deanna, it's picked at peak ripeness, it's ready to go, it doesn't change in there, whereas our fresh produce rides the truck quite a few days to get to us, so just tastes a little bit different. So that's kind of what we have, what we've been seeing in the Midwest. Definitely a push for more affordable, shelf stable, all that good stuff.
We're able to get through everything. So Deanna here, this one's coming to you. If you'd want to talk about some of the barriers that consumers and shoppers have for use of canned foods, just things that you hear maybe in your communications with those shoppers.
Yeah, so I think I'll touch a little bit on what I feel like is like the barriers within the grocery store, and then the barriers within like the community and society and everything. So within the grocery store, I think it's kind of feeling a little bit overwhelmed and not really feeling there's a lot of variety, and having more variety within the produce section. So when you walk down the canned aisle, you might not have as much variety as you have within the produce section. So maybe that's some of what a consumer would be thinking. But then kind of like what you mentioned at the beginning of this, the amount of like sugar and like trying to see, okay, is it canned and heavy syrup, so 100% juice? That can become like very overwhelming to customers. But I think that's where like your shelf tag labeling system can really help consumers choose the right canned product for themselves and decrease some of the labor with that. So that's kind of like a solution that you can try to make cans a little bit easier to pick up. One also thing is, I think people don't think of them as often. Like when they think, when they go to the doctor's office, the doctor isn't saying, hey, I go to the canned aisle and picked up canned fruits, veggies, beans, all that. They're saying, buy fresh fruits and vegetables, fill up half your plate with fruits and vegetables, go to the produce aisle, shop the perimeter. When we need to really change that dialogue of getting away from shopping the perimeter and shopping the entire store, shopping the center aisles, because that's really where, consumers are going to be able to make affordable, versatile, and easy to do choices. So I think it's not only changing the communication within the store, but then also like the help, like the partners within the community, with health banks, with hospitals, all of those different, all that different dialogue that I think is creating some barriers for consumers to think, oh, if I'm eating for health, let's go to the center aisle, and not necessarily the perimeter. So I think that definitely is some of the barriers to choosing canned food. And there's one more I was going to say, but it's slipping my mind right now, but those are the two.
I'll chip in real quick. Maybe it'll like kind of come back to you. But one thing I was just thinking as you were talking, I know like, kind of as a retail dietitian, you're always like seeking to gain new relationships, fostering new relationships within your community. So just the point of trying to get, but Deanna, have you found any creative ways to incorporate canned foods into modern day, like on trend TikTok type recipes, or any others that have just kind of like taken the internet by storm?
Yeah. So I think with these, I think you can really like communicate adding these canned fresh fruits and vegetables to literally anything. So you can like talking about different pairings, like those different tasty videos. I think just like showing the can and how easy it is to like open the can and pour the fresh peaches into your baking. So we've like lately I've been seeing a lot of applesauce being used to replace some of the sugar in baked goods. So, showing how you can use canned fruits to kind of play with that. So use peaches or pears to play with the flavor profiles, adding it to your oatmeal in the morning. So crushing it up and warming it up. So it gives a little different flavor profiles. And I think really using just different images and just different tasty videos, and that can really like engage customers senses by using sights and smells
Mhm.
of different cooking and baking and
Mhm.
combinations. I would say like
Mhm.
not only recipes, but also just pairings. Like what can
Mhm.
you pair peaches with? What can you pair, canned spinach with, showing how easy it
Mhm.
is to do.
Mhm.
So I would say that was
Yeah.
probably the main like trendy way that we can get it in is I can't think of like something that's really trendy, but like with sorbet, like
Oh, yeah, yeah.
can we make like an ice cream out of it? Can you take the
Mhm.
canned peaches and make an ice cream and like puree it up, and then the natural sugars in the cans
Mhm.
adds that natural
Mhm.
sweetness already. So that's something
Mhm.
that we can do that make it like a little bit more fun, make canned fruits and veggies a little bit more hot and attractive for the consumers, because that's all what they're looking for. They're looking for something that's a little bit hotter in per se. So we
Yeah,
gotta
yeah.
spruce these cans up. And then
No, no, I
with
love it.
different recipes, and just different fun ways to make them like boost them up a little bit.
But Deanna, if you want to share maybe just like again high level, like a success story particular to use of canned foods, whether it was a media segment or a feature in a print newsletter or social media or anything that maybe would be something helpful for others in the audience here.
Yeah, definitely. So I would say two of them that really come to mind is using cross merchandising signage. So we had for one of our family meals month, we showcased some certain canned products and we showcased it throughout the store. So not only in the canned aisle, but also showing like that recipe and that pairing in the meat section. Like, hey, here's a
Mhm.
flank steak pair with some canned beans. And so really making those connections throughout the grocery store, I think is a really great way to drive people to the canned store, to the
Mhm.
canned aisle. So they're not only
Mhm.
making the decision in the canned aisle, they can see, oh, hey, yogurt, here's an aisle blade or an aisle sign that has it with canned peach yogurt parfait, and that looks delicious with oatmeal. So I'm gonna
Mhm.
go grab some canned peaches with that. So I think
Mhm.
really using that was very successful because we were able to utilize it throughout the store. And then the other one that I think has been very helpful is with produce prescription programs or incentive programs, partnering with different health departments within your area that people shop at, and having that discussion with them and saying, is there room to expand it to canned and frozen fruits and vegetables rather than just fresh? Because a lot of them typically only fund fresh fruits and vegetables. And this year we actually switched to doing all forms with these incentives. So that's really exciting. So now consumers can come in with these incentive coupons and not only use them
Mhm.
for fresh, but then also they can use their extra funds to use them in the center aisle items as well. So I think that's a really great program, both of those programs, to really, drive consumers to make those type of behavior changes.
Deanna, Katie, any final words? We still don't have any questions, but yeah, so I'll let you each just take the floor briefly and then we can close this out. And you'll head over to the wrap-up session where you will have to leave this and then kind of re-enter to finish up that session. Just quick note on that. So Deanna, looks like you want to chime in quickly.
Well, I was going to repeat kind of what Emily said and just kind of reiterate, like, thanks for having us on. And I really look forward to seeing kind of, where the trends go in the future towards canned produce and canned fruits and vegetables. And it will be interesting to see how the behavior is changing. I think we're already seeing consumers change behavior in terms of, purchasing more of those shelf stable items. But I think, just listening to these two girls today and listening to all like the initiatives people are taking to promote canned foods is going to be really changing, not only for people's health, but also just making it easier in people's lives. So it's going to be really exciting to see how our initiatives like impact public health.